It was warm.
It was like,
It was gray and rainy and dark.
I like light, man. It can give me feeling
My name is Rob Rashi. I am the owner of Sword Class NYC. We are located at 125th Street and Madison Ave in Harlem.
Which is better? Longsword or katana?
You know, I love and I hate that question. If you've been training for 30 years in one valid form, and you're facing another practitioner who's been training for 30 years in another valid form, they're going to be pretty evenly matched. It's going to come down to skill, luck. There's no one form that's better than the other. Right? There's slight advantages that you get while using a katana. There's slight advantages that you get while using a longsword. Right? And if you are proficient in both those weapons, you'll know how to utilize the advantages of your weapon and exploit the weaknesses of your opponent's weapon.
What are the advantages of the longsword?
So the longsword, let's go with the most obvious advantage. There's two edges. They can use techniques like duplirin, which is the back of the sword coming down on your head after you're in a bind. There's also a crosscut, which not only can be used to defend, to lock up the weapon, but also to bind your opponent's arms.
What are the advantages of the katana?
The katana, it is a sharper sword usually. It starts out with a sharper edge. The curve in the blade is more proficient at slicing, at a slicing motion. Also, the curve in the blade itself leads to some very effective parrying techniques where you don't have to bring your hands all the way to the outside of your body to deflect the opponent's blow.
Is there a difference in the cutting ability between the katana and the longsword?
I wouldn't say there's a difference in the cutting ability. If you're proficient at one or the other or both, you're really going to be using them effectively. The sori, the curve in the katana, makes it a much more effective slicing tool. In fact, the basic cut while using a longsword was known as a hao, or a hew, right? Which is kind of an antiquated word. But a hewing motion is somewhere between a slicing motion and a chopping motion. That's not to say you use a longsword in a chopping motion, but there generally is more of an extension of your hands and an extension of the blade before it makes contact. If you're switching weapons, you're sometimes not prepared for how soon or how late the blade connects with the target itself.
How much crossover is there between the techniques that you use in kendo and the techniques that you use in longsword? Is there like any overlap between, like, say, longsword sparring and Japanese sparring?
At kendo, I always tell students is a distilled version of swordsmanship. Right? You don't have every target, you only have a few targets. You can't stab everywhere on the opponent, you can only stab one place. The idea being, well, if you can stab in this very, very small target consistently, it's not that hard to change your targeting and stab anywhere else. At our school, we're one of the only schools in the country that offer both these forms side by side. We do have open sparring sessions between our Eastern and Western forms. So in that, you tend to see that they're using different styles, so they're trying different techniques. When you're using a longsword versus a katana, all of a sudden you're trying techniques that may not work or may work better against this other sword. And you can believe, like, they didn't just train a curved sword versus a curved sword, or straight sword versus straight sword. No, there were curved and straight swords in every culture throughout all of history. So they didn't just train fighting one type of weapon. So you have to train it all.
So when, and I do say when, not if, the zombies take over, which one would you choose?
A shotgun. But failing the shotgun, I'm more proficient with a katana, so I would probably grab that as my primary backup weapon. Unless you have a really extensive amount of experience cutting targets, moving or sedentary, such as tatami and tamshigiri, a sword might not be the best weapon for you in the zombie apocalypse. As long as you're practicing with your full spirit, full heart, what's called in Japanese koro, but with the intention of becoming not just a better swordsman, but a better person, right? And developing yourself. You're not wasting your studies, your training. It doesn't matter if one person is better than another. Guess what? There's always someone better than you.
So like so just want to thank Rob A for for great for a great practice session today, and B for joining us here on at the McDojo.
Yeah, welcome to my McDojo.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.